This is my audience.
Do you feel as if the country or even our family was doing so well, and now it seems as if everyone is struggling to stay above water? You aren't alone in this. Not only has inflation increased, but it has set Americans back into poverty. Our nation's poverty rate is increasing quickly. I have experienced and witnessed this myself as my family of 3 was saving money, spending, and paying all of our needs before inflation increased. Once inflation hit, we had to rebudget and no longer able to spend the way we used to. Poverty has taken a toll on America for an increasingly a long time and will continue to increase unless inflation and the government steps in to help. Poverty is influenced by inflation, income, and government's help or lack thereof. Firstly, I'd like to take a look at how the government assistance or lack thereof can determine how poor Americans are. For example, we saw plenty of government assistance during the COVID pandemic, setting up Americans to live comfortably. In the Washington Post, an article, U.S. poverty spiked in 2022, reversing gain Census Bureau data shows, published September 2023, the spike in poverty after the pandemic shows poverty is more of a policy choice. As you see here, these are the poverty rates in the counties here in California, as well as here shows what it's like even with the assistance in place. And in orange here we have the visual of what it would look like for the poverty rate to increase if we lost these help. Not only has child poverty doubled after the pandemic, but adults who have lost government assistance and must pay for food, health insurance, and that they previously made them poor. The government also implemented tax breaks that help the rich and not the poor. Dave Davies wrote an article, Private Opulences, Public Squalor, How the U.S. Helps the Rich and Hurts the Poor, in March of 2023. In this NPR article, he explains that homeowners accumulated $190 billion in mortgage tax breaks. And if the top 1% paid their taxes that they owed and nothing else, we would save $175 billion every year. Because of these breaks in 2021, 11% of population was under the poverty rate line and could be helped by implementing tax money owed to the assistance programs like during COVID. While many are below the poverty line, they aren't short of jobs. I secondly would like to point out that families who have full-time jobs still can't cover basic needs. According to an article, Poverty in California, published October of 2023, 76% of the poor Californians have at least one household member with a job, and 48% of them have a full-time job. And 6.4 of those are college students, college graduates. For perspective, the poverty line in the US is set at a household of 4 being under $39,900 a year. In this PPIC article, they speak on the first quarter of 2023, jumped to the US having 13.2 poverty rate, which is an average of 281 million people who have an income below $39,900. The American dream was supposed to be one parent is at home with the children taking care of the home, while one parent worked. That dream is long gone, with 281 million people in the US being considered poor and struggling. You would think wage increases and assistance would rise. Instead, the dream dies and multiple jobs and even children are needed to help pay the bills. Income being higher doesn't seem to make a sense if, thirdly, inflation isn't taken care of. According to the Brookings article, inflation could wreak vengeance on the world's poor. published March 2022, inflation has returned and they are in the middle, and the middle class and the poor feel it the most, pushing the middle class back to being poor and impacting their income and their savings. As you see here, here's a graph that they show on how the poverty rate has increased, and so has the amount of people living in the poverty line. About 50% of the income goes to feeding their family, while the rich only spend 20% of their income. Brookings also published Post-Pandemic Poverty is Rising in the American Suburbs in October 2023, sharing that poverty and inflation is impacting the suburbians' home, as well as that they share that 1 in 10 suburbians live below the poverty line, which is around 41 million total in the US. Those who seem well off, like the American dream suburbians, are now facing the struggles of the ever rising prices of gas and food. In conclusion, inflation and income and the government increasingly impact poverty. It's not just drug addicts, homeless, criminals who are often blamed for taking advantage of assistance. It's just regular people like you and I who are struggling to get by.